While Graham Souness builds his football team, Chairman David Murray is masterminding the reconstruction of the main stand at Ibrox. When it's complete, it'll provide the last word in luxury for football fans. This structure alone will hold 24,000 people and will almost certainly have a use for major events outside of football. Expensive reconstruction on and off the park all costs money, and the fans who go to Ibrox are encouraged to take up deals which make their day out more enjoyable and at the same time make Rangers financially strong. Thousands of ordinary supporters have joined the Premier Club, which gives them access to an American-style concourse featuring everything you'd expect from the best fast food outlets. The only difference is that every product carries the Rangers crest. All this was created by Rangers commercial manager Bob Riley, welcomed here by ex-player Eric Caldo as he pays a pre-match visit to an area featuring hospitality on an altogether different level. Of the many corporate entertainment areas at Ibrox, this is the best. A world of champagne and gourmet food in which business is mixed with pleasure. Hundreds enjoy this 5-star football package every week, and there's no chance of anyone forgetting which team they're watching.
This is the top level of corporate entertainment we have at Ibrox. 36 executive boxes, opened about a year ago, all sold. As you can see, there are brass plates above each company's box. Each box holds 8, costs £25,000 plus VAT per season. It's totally inclusive. By that I mean there are nothing extra. That money allows them to have a champagne reception on arrival, which they're having at the moment in their box. They then have a 5-course lunch with red wine and white wine, coffee and liqueurs. Normal half-time fare at football matches, including the pies, and at full time a free bar to 6 o'clock. This part, as you can see, the boxes have sliding doors. This is to allow us to have a normal restaurant on non-match days. And we're delighted to say that the restaurant is continually full. An interesting little fact is that in close season, football grounds tend to be sort of barren places. So we decided to keep the restaurant open last close season, and the revenue from that was £100,000. So that's nice money.
We can hear the champagne corks popping in the background. How much champagne do we go through in here?
We go through quite a lot. That's on an average, there's 36 boxes. I would think there's probably about four bottles of champagne in each box, which is 160 bottles of champagne. I think there's 12 in a case or something like that.
Is it Rangers champagne?
All Rangers champagne. Only Rangers champagne.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the stadium, more guests arrive in the Thornton Suite, named after one of the Rangers greats, Willie Thornton, who hosts a table. Another famous Ranger, John Gregg, has a new role as head of PR.
Could you please welcome, all the way from Bermuda to see today's game, Mr. Bill Story.
I do feel Graham Souness has geared this club in particular for Europe. He's geared the club to say, if a European league comes around, and I'm sure that Graham Souness is convinced it's going to be sooner rather than later, I would say, sticking my neck out, by 1995 I'd be very, very amazed if there wasn't a European league in operation. And I think this club, he's saying, we're ready for it if the rest of Europe's ready for it.
Obviously we'd like to do better in Europe. I feel in the past, through circumstances, suspensions and injuries, and us not playing well in a night, we have not done ourselves justice in Europe. I'd want to do better in that field, obviously. But actually winning the European Cup is an enormous task for anyone to undertake. But we will try, and we'll try our hardest, and with a wee bit of luck, who knows one day. But it's not the be-all and the end-all. I want to, there's only one team can win the European Cup every year. There's only one team won it in the last 2 years. And I just want to be part of building something here which I've never seen the likes of before in Scotland.
Obviously this European dream is something which involves competing with clubs which you have explained to the press and the media in general here are on a different level altogether.
Yeah, well, we're known as big spenders by British terms, and I suppose have spent a lot of money. In real terms, we may have spent 7 million. We've outlaid a lot more than that, but we've got a lot back. And the best example you could possibly give would be Juventus this year, who at the start of the season, the coach or manager, whatever you want to call him, was given, I think it was £45 million to spend. Now I've spent £7 million over 5 years on 2 or 3 different teams. That guy's been given 40 million, 45 million quid to spend on one team for one season. I think he only managed to spend 37 of it.
So that's a measure of the opposition. Do you feel that...
That's what you're up against, but it's not impossible. As I said, I'm an optimist, and that every game I play I think I can win. And that comes down to the football in Europe as well. I think if given the right circumstances and given another 2 or 3 quality players at this club, the ones I've got, then we're capable of upsetting the best.
Do you think the system of club competition in Europe will change?
I'd hope so. I think people's tastes are becoming more and more discerning. I think people only want to watch the best now, whether it's on BSB or whether it's live. And the Scottish public are no different, the British public are no different to that. They would want to see the big foreign clubs playing in our country on a regular basis.
In a domestic sense, you have a very high profile. Obviously, if it was part of a European organisation, you would be maybe a smaller fish in a big pond. But here, you are
that very much.
You would like that?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, I feel that, and maybe even some of our own supporters are guilty of turning up and thinking because we've spent all this money that we've got a divine right to go out and beat everyone in sight. Well, it's not like that. Life's not like that, and football's certainly not like that.
Having said that, the Rangers manager has had to admit that the season so far has gone very much according to plan.
Good strike against Kidd, cutting away from the fullback. Good play by the Dutchman. And a goal for Rangers! 21 minutes gone here at Tynecastle. Marvellous play by Rangers. Oh, Johnston. Oh, great ball through Kelly. McCoyce is onside. McCoyce must score. Number 2 for Rangers. He gets the header in. Oh, and a mistake there by Chris Woods, and the ball in the net. And George Wright has scored for Hearts with 5 minutes to go. Well, I can imagine Rangers manager Graham Souness will be seething at the loss of that goal. But here's a chance for Ali McCoyce! And McCoyce gets his second goal of the game, and number 3 for Rangers. Here's John Collins. Glancing header! Derek White for Celtic! Second half, and Celtic, who've been under the cosh for so much of the game, go ahead. Beautiful pass there from Walters to Stephen. Great close control. There's Mark Walters with the cross. Up goes Bailey. Gets a vital touch. McCoy's trying to win that from Joe Miller. It's back with Goff. Stephen chests it down to Hurlock. Yes! The equaliser for Rangers. Terry Hurlock's first goal for his new club. He did well. Stephen. It's a great cross by Stephen. And Hazley scores. Hazley again doing well in the air. Spackman forcing his way through with a chance to test Andy Gorham. Back it goes to Walters. Barclay's cross. Hazley again. Mark Hazley gets his second, and the Hibs defence had no answer. Stephen and Walters over the ball. Touch on there from Haitley to find McCoyce. Walters taking on Milne. Chance for Stephen! 4-0 Andy Robertson getting his first touch. It's John Brown again looking for the head of Haitley. A chance for Walters! Davy Cooper starts his run, drives it forward. Oh, he scored! Well, the change in conditions now quite dramatic. The rain pouring down. Rangers pouring forward. It's Ali McCoy. Oh, Johnston! A magnificent goal! John Brown. Again looking for Haitley. Away by Angus. Only as far as Spackman. Oh, great ball through now to Gary Stevens, who must score! Oh, brilliant goal by Gary Stevens! Davy Cooper quickly closed down by Vinicum. Cooper, the chance! And Motherwell pull one back. Rangers pouring out of the fence. McCoy and Johnson through the middle, so too is Gary Stevens! Gary Stevens!
I think when you pay the amount of money that Graham pays for players, you don't really have to coach them too much, David. I think that's when you're paying over £1 million for a player, you expect them to know the basics of the game, and they do. I think where Graham's problems have lain is in convincing the fans. I mean, we all know Scottish football, it's up and at them. Let's get it in the box, get it forward. Graham's tried to adopt a European Liverpool-type game, if you like, where patience plays a big key in it. He's tried to get the fans to be patient. Let's build up from the back. I mean, he wants his players to all be able to pass the ball, to control the ball, to pass it through midfield, not just a big lump up the park. And I think that's been his biggest problem, is telling the fans and convincing them that that was the way forward for Rangers. But the players know it. He tells them every day, encourages them, pass the ball, pass the ball. The training, very similar to Liverpool, I'm sure.
I think everybody relates back to the Liverpool because they're such a good team. And, I mean, if you can go anywhere near you know, the playing abilities of them, then you won't be far wrong. I think the main thing in any football team is that, or that the manager tries to get over to us, is that you've got to pass and move and keep doing it, and that's what we try to, you know, put into the game.
On a personal level, that profile that you have has got you into some trouble. Is it something that troubles you, that worries you or hurts you when you're disciplined?
Listen, I'm very fortunate. I've never suffered from jealousy in my life. And I can understand people being jealous or bitter or antagonistic towards me and this club if we're constant in newspapers or we're constant on television. I consciously try not to be on television a great deal. People say, what am I doing this interview for? I certainly try and avoid the newspapers as much as I can on the radio, but it's difficult.
And when you do get into trouble with, say, the SFA or whatever, it's because of things where you...
Got to watch what I'm saying here.
Absolutely, but which is probably one of the reasons that you are so frustrated. But the passion that is part of this game, that everyone wants to be part of it, do you feel that you simply get caught up in that passion and that's sometimes what pushes you over the edge and causes you to be disciplined?
I know about football. I've had a lifetime of football. I understand football. People who hand out the discipline. And maybe I've not spent a lifetime in football, certainly not at the sharp end. I'm passionate about the game I'm involved in. If that sometimes leads me getting into trouble, then I can't change, because that's the way I'm about the game. I love the game. I love every aspect of the game. And sometimes if people think I've fallen foul of the rules or their interpretation of the rules, then I'll have to just go along with that.
Do you like being a winner?
It's not a case of, there's only one thing to be in life, David, and I think I've got a lot of winners down in the dressing room down there. They know how I feel about that, and I like to think a wee bit of me is rubbed off on them, and certainly with a few of them in that dressing room, some of their attitude to certain things is rubbed off on me.
Heavy drizzle still falling here at Celtic Park, as Rangers enjoy in the early stages the bulk of the possession. Here's a good move from Haitley, and calmly intercepted by the Polish international Dubček. Careless pass though, here's Robertson. Johnston calls for the ball. A stumble there from Johnston. And Alex Bailey stayed on his feet to take possession. A clumsy pass there from Bailey, giving the throw. There's Maurice Johnston. Opportunism at his best. Rangers are ahead. The Rangers Legion celebrate. And Maurice Johnston, who could so easily have been playing for Celtic, scores for Rangers.
Well, I think Rangers have been threatening this from the off-drop. They've been very positive in going forward. It's a misheader from Lex Bailey, so I'm not quite sure, but what about this for opportunism? That's finishing of the highest quality.
Celtic hitting back straight away. They won a corner kick. Oh, what a start to the match. Corner from Joe Miller. And over the line, has it like Billy claiming that was a goal. The linesman disappointed. Back in the arms of Chris Woods.
Well, I'd like to see this again, Jock, because Chris Woods gets in all sorts of trouble from the corner. As it comes over, it's right under his crossbar, tries to push it over, only succeeds in pushing it down. And it bounces at the right side, and I think, oh, he recovers brilliantly, this Chris Woods.
Bailey looking for Craney through the middle, but Brown is underneath that. Good play by Grant. Here's Nicholas. Playing it forward for Craney. Well, that's a great goal from Craney nearly. Oh, wonderful effort from Jerry Craney. That must have been inches over the bar. The tackle came from Elliott. That's fine play by Grant. Craney to Miller. Well, Celtic has certainly been stung by that goal. Here's Charlie Nicholas. Superb goalkeeping. Headed down by Craney, finds Nicholas. He's looking for a shooting chance. Back from Craney. Craney again. Well, what a promising partnership this is proving to be. All the big men are up. Celtic determined to equalise before half-time. Here's John Collins. There goes Elliott. Yes! Paul Elliott does it again for Celtic. And these Celtic fans celebrate. They love Paul Elliott dearly, and that's one of the reasons why. His fourth goal of the season, all of them from headers, and it's his second against Rangers.
Right, you have to say this was deserved, this. But it's a super header from Paul Elliott, who's brilliant in there. That's a great climb. And into the roof of the net it goes. It's just the boost that Celtic wanted.
It will be interesting to see if they can pick things up where they left off. There's Grant to Craney. Good play from Craney. Beaten away by Woods as Nicholas came in. And Celtic giving a very early answer to that question. There's Collins. John Collins appears to find gaps when there really are none. So Celtic getting off to a brisk start. So Ali McCoy on replacing Maurice Johnston. Here's Joe Miller. It's got a very interesting contest between Miller and Monroe. Here's Spackman. The interception made by Collins. Here's Nicholas. Still Charlie Nicholas. And off the inside of the post. Charlie Nicholas wonders just what he has to do to score for Celtic.
Well, the roof nearly came off Celtic Park there. But what a tremendous skill again from Nicholas. You people talk about as he got it. Look at that. And what a finish. It's a superb strike.
Well, Celtic can either be saddened by that or lifted, and it looks as though they've been lifted. Well, that's great play again. Joe Miller. That's a corner kick, I think. Yes, the linesman's given it. Well, Celtic in this kind of mood look to be irresistible. There's Collins looking for Fulton, who is caught there by Harlock. The referee waves play on as Fulton lies on the floor. The Celtic bench incensed by that as McCoy didn't clear a chance for Rangers. Here's McCoy, they must score! Rangers take the lead! Harry McCoy gets his 12th goal of the season. And Celtic feeling very aggrieved about the fact that Mark Fulton is still on the ground inside the Rangers half.
Well, this is a tremendous blow for Celtic. There's no question of him being offside here, but what composure he shows. They've lost their top goal scorer. He makes Pat Bonner go on his backside and he just rolls it into the empty net. That's a tremendous piece of finishing.
Throughout Scotland, this is the typical meeting place where football is discussed on a daily basis. Everyone has an opinion and no one is frightened to offer advice, even to the biggest names in the game. In Glasgow, most pubs tend to lean either one way or the other, and there's no doubt where the loyalties lie in this case. Rangers is the favourite topic of conversation here, and no one is spared from the punter's blunt views. Despite all the success, even Graham Souness has to take some stick from time to time.
He's far too arrogant, too single-minded. He is arrogant, but when you've been there and done the business, you can afford to be arrogant. It's as simple as that.
I think he's done exceptionally well at Rangers. I just cast my mind back 5 years before he came. They weren't doing very well at all. Middle of the table, 4th, 5th in the league. Wasn't good enough for Rangers Football Club. And I think since he's came, they look as if they're going to win something every season now. They've got the best players, a great set of fans. The place is buzzing every Saturday. I think it's been great for Scottish football.
He's done a tremendous job over the last 4 or 5 years, 4 years ever since he came to Ibrox. He signed a Catholic. As far as I'm concerned, tremendous player. Right? He's done the job for Rangers Football Club, scored tremendous goals, and one of the best players out. And he had to buy him.
It didn't bother me. I thought about it at the time, but I came out here, my mate, and we sat with blether to come out and see the reaction of people. And obviously there was a lot of people who were upset and didn't think it should happen. But to me, he's a good striker. He puts the ball in the net and he earned us some really valuable points last year. And that's what it's all about.
It was a big deal, but we get used to it.
Why was it a big deal for you?
Because it was against everything that we'd been brought up to believe Rangers was about. It was against the tradition of the club.
I think he's a quality player and I'm glad they signed him. I think if you just even watch him when he scored against Celtic, how happy he was. I think the players have accepted him, I think the fans have now as well.
Future, I'd just like to see Rangers go from strength to strength. I'd like to see them do well in Europe, but I still think they lack that wee bit. In Europe now, when you see like Italian teams and that, I think Rangers are a good bit behind them just now anyway. I'd like to see them in future going to be a force in Europe, but as I say, I think it'll be a few years from now, I know.
I think now they're back on the right road and hopefully they'll go into maybe European glories. Well, I don't see it in the near future, possibly near 5-10 years time.
Looking into the future, in 10 years time, what do you expect to be doing and where will you be?
10 years time I'll have had the sack and I'll have been retired from football and hopefully spend a lot more time with my family.
Do you seriously believe that old truism about football, the only thing that's guaranteed is that a football manager will get the sack? Do you ever worry about it? Or do you feel it will definitely come true?
I'm a wee bit more comfortable about it now. I mean, as a player I was always looking over my shoulder who was going to replace me, and as a manager I feel I could still fail. But I'd feel a wee bit happier the fact that I've won a couple of championships and a couple of trophies, so, you know, and I won a few things as a player, so I wouldn't feel a total failure, no. I'm more comfortable, I can live with it, I'm more comfortable with it, that thought, than I was the first day I walked in the doors here.
So the success that you've had in management has just recently led to you being linked to, for instance, the Real Madrid job, and I do recall you saying that you couldn't afford the drop in salary, but seriously, how do you react when you are linked with jobs like that?
That's, you know, the word exclusive seems to be used every day in certain newspapers and certain television programs. It'd be of no interest to me. I've got a contract here. I'm happy here. I'm as happy as I've been in my footballing life, if you like. You know, I'm in charge of basically everything that goes on at the club in football terms. And I work with great people. I want to try and establish something here that I'll be lasting. You know, that when my time comes for me to go, that I'll stand back and maybe be given another job somewhere within the club and say, well, I was partly responsible for creating whatever we've created. You know, to pass on a youth system that's second hand, to pass on a reserve team that's got players bursting to get into the first team, and to pass on a really good first team that's capable of competing at the very highest level and be involved in creating the best stadium, or one of the best stadiums in Europe, certainly the best stadium in Britain. I have no intention of leaving this place. I don't want to leave. And that short term, that's both in the year and a half of my contract that's left, and I'd hope to be signing a long-term contract after that if the board sees fit.